Hello everyone, how are you going? And welcome to Stupid Canadian Laws. Now we know that every single country in the world has some very old, very stupid, very strange laws, but what are Canada's?
So everyone's favorite Canadian Prime Minister is at it again. Justin Trudeau.
Here we go.
This one again. Over here announced this week that his administration is going to start getting rid of stupid Canadian laws, which is a very good thing because as much as I may not be Prime Minister Trudeau's greatest fan, I'm even less of a greatest fan of stupid Canadian laws, which we have a lot of in this country. Yeah. Now see, this thing here is the Canadian Criminal Code, which has all of the big Canadian criminal laws in it. By the way, if you want to know a big difference between the United States and Canada, it is that in Canada, only the federal government can make criminal laws. In the US, the federal government and the state government can make criminal law.
I'm fairly sure that that is the same thing in Australia. I don't think the individual states and territories have their own ability to make their own laws, not the criminal law at least, because I know, for instance, fines and those kind of things differ from state to state, and obviously that's one law, and I'm fairly sure there are some different laws in different states, but not criminal kind of laws, just, oh, you shouldn't do that kind of laws. And it is also interesting to see that he has an entire book on criminal code. I don't think I've ever seen that. Wait, hang on a second. Do not remove from library. Oh, I don't know about that one, Chief. But either way, Pocket Criminal Code 2015 includes forms of charges. Well, I've certainly never seen a book like that, and that is a thick book. But hey, I'm sure with all the different things and all the strange laws in particular, it is going to be quite a thick book. And like I said, Australia probably has a very similar one. You know, we have to take a bale of hay in the boot of a car.
Anyway, this thing is just full of nonsense. For example, here on page 282, it says it is against the law to pretend to exercise or use any kind of witchcraft, sorcery, enchantment, or conjuration. Wow. Did you get that? The key word is pretend. So if you're an actual witch or sorcerer, that's fine. Just go about your business. But if you're faking it, then it's the big house for you.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, pretends to exercise. At first I thought he meant like pretend to exercise full stop, not pretend to exercise any kind of witchcraft, sorcery, enchantment, or conjuration. I mean, to be fair, I don't actually know how old this book is and when it was originally written, so maybe there is a page, 364 or something that says it without fraudulently and without pretending just to practice witchcraft, etc.
Then here in section 71, it says anyone who challenges or attempts by any means to provoke another person to fight a duel is guilty of a crime and can go to jail for 2 years. And again, we are not talking about actual dueling, which is murder, which FYI is already illegal in Canada. No, we are merely talking about challenging someone to a duel. So if I go, hey, you watching this video, I challenge you to pistols at dawn, then I've just committed a crime in Canada.
Well, okay then. Well, everyone that is in Canada at the moment, there you go. Go after him. He was just going to be challenging you for a duel, and he's going to have so many criminal charges against him that once you go 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus whatever number of 2s you have, he's going to be spending a lot of time in jail. And I even love the fact that they have specified that attempts by any means to provoke another person to fight a duel. If you were just being so annoying to that person where they just go, fine, let's just have a duel, that is criminal because you challenged or attempted to provoke them in order to, I guess, execute a duel in the end. And then hang on a second, just reading down further, C is accepts a challenge to fight in a duel, and so no matter which side you're on, you're just screwed. If you accept the duel, if you provoke the duel, whatever it may be, you're going to jail.
Now here is one that I think is a little bit more well known. It is against the law to cut a coin in half in Canada, or more specifically to break up one. It is all written down here in the Canadian Currency Act. I remember when I was a little kid, there used to be this infomercial on TV about these amazing miracle scissors that could cut through anything. Just watch them cut through this coin. And we all giggled about it at school because obviously that very bad man in the commercial was going to prison.
I mean, look, I might be wrong here, but I feel as though that one makes a little bit more sense considering I think every single country in the world has laws around defacing and devaluing currency, and that kind of comes under the same thing. Whether you cut it, break it, snap it, whatever it may be, it's all just worthless then. And really looking into it further, you are clearly not allowed to melt them down because that destroys it, break up, that destroys it, or use otherwise then as currency any coin that is current or legal tender in Canada. Okay then, I mean, I guess anyone that has ever used a coin to do up something that's kind of a big flathead screwdriver kind of thing has probably just broken the law in Canada because, like it says, nothing other than as a currency. I mean, I do love the fact that all of this is under melting down coins. I mean, I understand how meltdown would be under melting down coins, but surely there's just a bigger bolder header where it says, just defacing and devaluing.
Now, another fun fact about Canada is that because we don't have the First Amendment, it is a lot easier for our government to ban book books and movies and stuff. Every day, in fact, Canadian border guards seize books and movies and CDs from American travelers because they've deemed the content of those things to be too offensive or violent or perverted for the delicate Canadian sensibilities. But here is one very specific form of naughty entertainment that the Canadian government doesn't want you to have: crime comics. In the section of the Criminal Code describing offenses tending to corrupt morals, it says a Canadian breaks the law when he makes, prints, publishes, distributes, or has in his possession for the purposes of publication, distribution, or circulation a crime comic.
What does that even mean? I don't even know what a crime comic means, unless you're talking in broader sense like Batman would be a crime comic, but everyone knows that's a superhero comic, but I guess it does talk about crime. I mean, it does come under the banner of corrupting morals, and so maybe if you're reading a Joker comic or just any kind of villain comic, that would be illegal, but then maybe a Batman, Superman, all those kind of comics would be fine? I really don't know. I don't know how this even came into circulation in the first place. I mean, to be honest, the entire thing is certainly put into perspective when you read this whole section A, because for the purpose of publication, distribution, or circulation, any obscene written matter, picture, model, phonograph record, for goodness sake, is in there, or other thing, whatever. The fact that phonograph record is in there and had to be specifically kind of called out certainly tells you a little bit of what the time period was like at the time.
With crime comic being defined as a book that pictorially depicts the commission of crimes, real or fictitious, as well as events connected with the commission of a crime. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, this means that every single superhero comic is technically banned in Canada, since those do nothing but depict the commission of fictitious crimes, let alone connected events.
And I know through watching Canadian Heritage Minutes that Superman was originally thought up and drawn and illustrated in Canada, so no wonder they shipped it off down to the USA, where they weren't going to get hung, drawn, and quartered just for having it in their possession for publication, distribution, and all those kind of rights. I mean, I do love the fact that in reference to corrupting morals, you can't even have fictitious stories. I mean, I can kind of understand real ones referencing all these different events, but fictitious ones, are you kidding me? You can't even talk about alien crime or something like that. Really, people? No wonder people often just point to the book and go, oh, I'm not going to listen to any of those. Half of them don't even make any sense.
And speaking of freedom of speech, here's something for all you atheists out there. It is against the law in Canada to, quote, publish a blasphemous libel. Now, the law does say that this isn't supposed to apply to the expression of opinions on religion that are argued in good faith and in decent language, which I guess means there's nothing to worry about unless you get this guy as your judge. And by the way, if you think you can get away with insulting religion or cutting up coins or selling comic books just because you're on a rocket ship in outer space, guess again. One of the very first parts of the Canadian Criminal Code says quite explicitly that Canadians can be prosecuted for crimes on any means of transportation to or from a space station.
Hang on a second. That means that this book has been updated fairly recently, and I guess in terms of some laws it does make sense. If you just took someone out on the way up to the space station, I would understand how you probably need to be charged under the same law system. I think more so where it becomes a little bit ridiculous is when on any means of transport to or from the space station. I mean, how many forms of transport are there? Do they know something that we don't? How long is a Canadarm 3 or 2 or 0? I don't know. Can it just like pick you up and place you up there? I don't know. And then look, I guess this one is just Canada being Canada in terms of as long as you were nice to people, you don't shout, you don't swear, you don't do any of that, you were just nice and polite and follow the entire kind of rest of the country, as long as you were just having a civil discussion, it sounds like anything goes. Or at least that's what I understand this as it says no person shall be convicted of an argument used in good faith or conveyed in decent language. I mean, at least either way, the term does not exceed 2 years, but you definitely want to just check what you're saying and how you're saying it.
So yes, lots of stupid laws in Canada. If you are interested in learning more about this subject, I highly recommend the book Under Arrest by Bob Tarantino, which is a quite fantastic guide to some of the weirdness of the Canadian legal system. Did I miss any good, stupid Canadian laws? I was only talking about criminal laws here, but I know there are a lot of stupid laws governing less serious matters as well.
I mean, to be honest, it didn't sound as though he missed any in particular, because he went from page 70 up to 350. I mean, I don't know how many pages are in this book. It probably has a few more than that, but either way, some of the ones that he has pulled out here are pretty insane, especially considering that they are criminal charges, not just legislation and laws and those kind of things, no, criminal charges that you will go to jail for, it seemed about 2 years in average. And look, like I said, we have checked out things before which shows that every country in the world has some very outdated, very stupid, very random laws, and so it is not as though Canada is all on its lonesome in that regard, but I do wonder, considering what he said, when did this video come out? 2017. I wonder if Trudeau has just gone about changing some of these stupid Canadian laws, or if they've just been left alone, or if they've added to them. I don't know. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there before we all have to listen to him saying a fake about it one more time. So if you didn't enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube algorithm things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you are watching, then make sure to go check out any other ones I've done. Also, make sure if you want to go check out the original video down in the description below, or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.